Hey everyone, I'm a glutton for punishment. I am back again at Dog Central. I've done their DC challenge, I've done their 30 dog challenge, setting a new record of 16 dogs in under 30 minutes. I am now going to attempt the most dogs in 2 hours. Current record is 20 dogs, so let's see how hungry I am. All right, here we go. 2 hours on the clock. Record is 20 dogs. Trying to get to 21. And we are off. Another wonderful day in the office, devouring dogs. So 21 dogs was what I was aiming for. And so I started with the first dozen. A little bit different of a strategy this time around. 7 days prior, I was at Dog Central trying to get to 16. And as I'd mentioned in that video, I really didn't hit the wall with the mustard like I thought I would. So I said, well, let's start with a dozen right off the bat. 10 of those being mustard. And I figured I needed a little bit of fruit in my diet. So I saw that they had pineapple, like the little tidbits, as an option. So I said, I'll have a couple of those. So I started with 2 of the pineapples. And then my thought was, well, if I do get tired of mustard, then I'll bounce between the mustard and the pineapple. Figured it's still got some acidity, like the mustard, so it helps cut through the chili. But it's also going to provide more sweetness. So I figured you got the vinegar from the mustard, so that should help offset with the sweetness of the pineapple. So that's what I figured for the first dozen, see how it goes, and adjust as needed. Trajan. Thank you very much. So that was Amelia the Nibbler Cherkowski coming over to cheer me on along with baby Sophia. So I'd be remiss if I didn't say the real MVP of this challenge was my wife, who always supports my ideas no matter how insane they may seem. So big kudos to her to allow me to do this challenge while she entertained 3 small children. So for this next tray of dogs, I decided to go with 8 mustard. I was feeling good. The pineapple was a nice change of pace, good sweetness, but figured might as well just stick with the mustard. I know it works, so did 8 of the mustard, and then they also brought out the Detroit dog for me to break the record for 21. At 13 minutes, 48 seconds, I polished off my 16th dog of the day, tying my performance for last week. It was about a minute slower than I was at the 30-minute challenge, but I figured with today's being a 2-hour challenge, I didn't want to sprint any marathons, just wanted to do a slow march to 21. Thank you very much. So after devouring 20 chili dogs, I've tied the record for the 2-hour challenge. To break it, technically all I needed was to eat 20.5 dogs, but according to my shirt, the whole dog has to go. For this dog's topping, I switched it up big time. So instead of just chili and mustard, I went all in on the Detroit dog, which is chili, mustard, and diced onion. Why? Because this one was personal. My grandfather was a Detroit police officer for many, many years, and he jokes that over his career, he probably averaged at least one Coney dog per shift. And even now, at 95 years old, he'll still grab a Detroit Coney or two whenever he gets the chance. So today, I'm breaking this record with the Detroit dog in honor of his never-ending optimism, resilience, and zest for life. So, Grandpa, this one's for you. Blackjack. 23 minutes, 25 seconds, 21 dogs down. Now I was just playing with the house's money. I was about to have a lot of fun, see how far I could really push myself, and I wanted to celebrate with the goober dog, which has got to be one of my top favorites. It's got chili, it's got shredded pickle, crushed Fritos, and peanut butter. I'd say don't knock it till you try it. It sounds weird, but all the flavors work so well together. And especially with all the mustard I just ingested, it was a great change in flavor. And then after this one, I had a pineapple on deck. So at this point, I was at 23 dogs down, still feeling really good, and wanted to pick the staff's brain to see what they'd go with. And I had such a good time chatting with them throughout this whole challenge. They were super supportive, really energetic, cheering me on, giving me really good advice on where I should go next, because like I said, after 21, I was just trying to have fun, keep the flavors and textures changing, because I knew that eventually I'm going to hit a wall, and no matter how good the chili is and how great the snap of the pork dogs were, it's got to be some of those topping changes that are going to keep me going. So again, really appreciated all the support from the staff. It was a Well, I'll invert one of the dogs. The dog with peanut butter is what I started with first. Turned it over and smashed it into the one with Fritos on it. So I really ended up with two peanut butter and Frito dogs. Wanted to get enough topping to get the flavor, get the texture difference, but not fill up on topping. So that was my thought there, was trying to get the By far my favorite one in the entire challenge. This thing is absolutely packed with flavor. Take on Mexican street corn. You had seasoned roasted corn, mayo, chipotle powder, cotija cheese, and a lime wedge. Absolutely fantastic. Really enjoyed it. Definitely something different than what I've been eating so far. Decided to keep the party going with dog 27 being pineapple. After having that elote dog, is definitely really savory, so bouncing back to something sweet definitely help keep the taste buds hopping and trying to ignore the 28. I'm so close to 30.
I know. That's a big number.
I got some time to think. Probably not bad. I don't know. So having 28 dogs, I was really proud of that number, but 30 it's just a nice round number to end on 30. So talking to the team there, say, okay, if you had 2 more dogs you wanted to eat, which 2 would you get? And I was thinking something signature. And at this point, I think I'd ran close to 25% of the board on their signature dogs, so wanted to pick their brain on what they'd recommend. So they had a couple good ones to end on, so those are the ones I went with. Knowing that I was going to be eating a lot of hot dog buns, managing liquids was a big part of the strategy going into this challenge. Last time I had a lot of success with the Diet Pepsi. The carbonation helped, the flavor definitely helped break up some of the chili dog. So I was going with that, the Diet Pepsi, and then I had a water. And then later on, I was trying to find something sweet. So the soda fountain there allowed me to play with a lot of different combinations. But I just kept going back to the Diet Pepsi and the water, and that helped a lot. So in addition there, you see I had a can of KBC Widowmaker. That originally was not in the plan, but I saw that in one of their coolers, and so, well, it's one of my favorite beers of all time, so I'll at least sip on it every now and again, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm trying to psych myself up, getting into the dog number 29. I decided to go with the Popper dog. Very different than anything I'd had prior. This thing's got cream cheese, jalapeno, and applewood smoked bacon. So it did taste just like a jalapeno popper, which was awesome. The spice from the jalapeno wasn't overwhelming, but it was something I hadn't had so far during the challenge, so the flavor helped. The capsaicin and the heat does stimulate appetite a little bit, but at that point, after 28 dogs, I had no appetite whatsoever. This was just for pride. If you couldn't tell, I'm hurting at this point. The Popper dog was absolutely fantastic flavor-wise. The cream cheese was a bit heavy. The bacon took a little bit extra work to chew through, but overall it was great flavor. What I did flipping my hat there, that was kind of a double nod. Randy Santel, a very famous competitive eater, he'll flip his cap at the start of every competition, which that is an homage to Sylvester Stallone in the movie Over the Top. It's what he does before his arm wrestling competition. So wanted to try to psych myself up going into this last dog because I was hurting something fierce. For this last dog, I decided to go with the Miami dog. Again, totally different than most of what I'd had for the rest of the challenge. This thing's got all sorts of sauces, which I thought was going to be a good play, help get everything down. Mayo, mustard, ketchup. Also came with some pineapple, which I'm no stranger to, and then potato sticks, which kind of like corn chip, got that nice crunch to it, but those more slender sticks do you see, kind of like the Andes potato sticks. So went with that, and it was a slog fest, but as you can see, I wasn't planning to stop at 29 and a half. Leftovers are for quitters, so I dug deep. So let's see how this last half dog goes down.
Good job.
Stick a fork in me. I am done. 30 dogs. Beat the previous record by 10. Couldn't be more proud of myself and kind of more disgusted with myself. But nonetheless, 30 dogs. Got a sweet t-shirt. Got my name up on the wall of fame. Hopefully, I do not have to come back anytime soon to try to defend that record. Hope it stays up for a very long time. And apologies to Dog Central. All the dogs were free, so definitely cut into their profit margin for the day. But had an absolute blast with this challenge. I was really glad the wall didn't hit until close to the end, because that could have been a lot more painful. But the staff was awesome, as they have been for the previous few times I've been in. Really supportive, a lot of fun. I'd say I'd like to come back and do it again, but they've got a couple other challenges that I've got my eye on. So once I feel like eating a chili dog again, I will be back. So thanks for tuning in, and stay hungry. And one last thing, if you liked what you saw, feel free to like, subscribe, drop me a comment. Let me know if there are any challenges in your area that you'd like to see me attempt. I'm always hungry for the next challenge, hungry for the next bite. So thanks for stopping in.